Coming up on this episode of Good Teams Win, Great Teams Cover.
But the offensive line was shocking, and most people will talk, and the talk's been in the off-season, how will the Lions cope without Ben Johnson and without Aaron Glenn? Which I still think is daft, because our defense was cracked over for 3 years, and then all of a sudden Aaron Glenn's the greatest thing.
Welcome to another episode of Good Teams Win, Great Teams Cover. We're back with our NFL Week 2 preview. They're coming thick and fast now, the episodes and the weeks of the NFL. Feel like they're already flying by. Gentlemen, we're back for Week 2. How are you both doing? You had a little bonus episode covering Monday Night Football and power rankings, so feels like we're producing something every day at the minute.
Yeah, it's a good one, yeah. A lot of people said it's good to see the best two on together. No, I mean, that's not my take, though. That's listener feedback. Which, I mean, I disagree. I got into an argument with a few folk about it, but yeah, it's nice to have the three of us back together, is what I said to them.
Yeah, it was a shit episode anyway.
I mean, yeah, there was some controversy about the Jags being, where do you have them ranked, 35 out of 32?
40. Yeah, I just didn't even, which is, it does feel a bit mean, but I feel like that was a big, the Panthers were so bad. The Jags can show me something this week, and we'll get to that.
Yeah, it's almost like a Byron Paul ball, this one, the Bengals Jags. But, yeah. I mean, we'll get to all the games in a minute. Yeah,
Bengals Jags, yeah, excellent. Hey, look, I'm with you this week. We'll get to that. Week 2 feels a big week. We've got some big games. It's a great one to look forward to. Joe, how are you feeling Week 2? You feel like, are you in the rhythm now of kind of the NFL season after the previews, reviews, and stuff last week?
I think we get in there. Obviously, this week it's always the fun times when the NFL throws in 2 Monday Night Football games and then just a minimal Sunday evening, which has been a bugbear on our podcast for quite some time. But at least it's like a really intriguing evening game, which I think most people will be focused on. And the other 2 games, one's a fun one, the other one, yeah. So yeah, they could help us out here.
I can cope with the 3 games when one of them's a really big game. I can cope. Don't like it, but I can cope. Anyway, look, we've got a great preview for you this week. We've got our usual stuff. We're going to preview the Sky Sports and Primetime games. We've got a fantastic guest. We're going to do our 4-fold challenge draft, ATS Picks. So lots to look forward to. And of course, throughout, the most important thing, we will be sharing all of our best bets. But we've got a cracker of a guest joining us for Week 2. We've got big Detroit Lions fan, Fletch from the Asleep at Work network joining us. He had a bit of a rough week. He's a big Michigan fan as well, and they got their asses kicked by Oklahoma. The Lions got destroyed by the Packers. It was a rough couple of days. But Fletch is joining us to talk about the Bears and Lions, preview that, and also take on the 4-fold challenge. So let's hand it over to me with Fletch. Joining us as our Week 2 guest, we've got none other than Fletch joining us, the man behind the Sleep at Work network, Hurdle the Line, College Football UK, a new show on the Asleep at Work network, The Fantasy Den. Covering all bases. Fletch, welcome back to the show. Pleasure and a privilege to have you on. How are you getting on?
Oh, good, mate. Obviously, that's just busy. Covering all base. The only base I'm not covering at the moment is being a husband, but that'll come in February. We can do that in February. It'll be fine. But no, all good, mate. All good. How are you guys? Are you all doing?
Excellent. Yeah, we're good. Thank you. Football's back in it. It's great. You've had a few weeks now of it being back, kind of. I love that kind of. So we saw, as I say, I got to see you in Dublin a few weeks ago. That always feels like now that's kind of the start of football being back for us. So we've had a few weeks. College is great. NFL is great. And yeah, before we know it, we're going to be counting down the weeks till it's gone. So certainly going to enjoy it while it's here.
Yes.
Yeah, and yeah, you're right to say that. You are really, really busy because you've got the Sleep at Work network. It feels like it's growing all the time. What have you got going on? What can we look forward to from the Sleep at Work network over kind of the course of the football season, Fletch?
Yeah, so obviously we've got Hurdle the Line. That's now 2 episodes a week. Luckily for anyone listening who's already sick of my voice after 30 seconds, you only have to hear me one of those 2 times. One out of 2 of those episodes. They come out on a Tuesday and a Friday morning about 6 a.m. UK time. We've got the college football podcast, which incidentally we're recording right after this, which one episode a week, but it's like, well, if you listen to college football, you know just how much goes on, so much to get through in one episode. So they're about 3 weeks long, just as an episode. And then we've just brought in the new Fantasy Den podcast, all centered around fantasy football. That's with Sam, Gary, and a new lad called Andy. So really exciting times, lots more going on. We've got the Patriots Touchback as well. That comes on every week. That's part of the network, and we're looking at towards the off season as we kind of get into 2026. We're bringing in Britball and some podcast around that, some content around that as well that we're building up to then. So yeah, we want to try and cover all. Basically, if there's a football that someone trips over in Guatemala, we want it to be covered on a podcast at some point within the next few years at the network. So yeah, covering all bases of football, really.
Well, you're certainly well on the way to achieving that, I think, Fletch. It's excellent. I think it just goes sometimes unsaid, kind of the work to do that, to produce. You know, that's probably like 6-7 hours worth of recorded content every week. That's some going. So yeah, good work. Yep. And yeah, I certainly love obviously catching it. I'm a big college football fan myself, so I always make sure catching up with College Football UK as well, which is awesome. But we're here to talk about the NFL, of course. We're here to talk about your Detroit Lions, who are taking on the Bears this week. So we're going to get into a little bit, but we'll give you a break. We'll delay the Lions talk a little bit longer. You were at the NFL event in Manchester for week 1 on Sunday. I'm gutted I couldn't make it because I was down south Saturday, Sunday, didn't get back till late. But yeah, do you want to tell us a little bit about it, kind of the NFL experience event and how it was?
Yeah, do you know what? It was fantastic. The NFL, apologies. The NFL really showed up in Manchester. It's nice to see because mostly things like that you will tend to see them down south. So it was nice to see it one in Manchester. Obviously, well, it ended up in Spinningfield, so you know, it's the posh part of Manchester, obviously.
Bougie bit, yeah.
Proper bougie. But no, it was a great experience. It really, really was. They had a load of different things going on. They had the Lombardi Trophy there, so got the closest any Lions ever got to a Lombardi Trophy, which I take with pride. They had Madden. They had little Madden tournaments going on. Paddy Power were there. I've got some free Paddy Power underwear, which
nice.
Not sure whether to wear or display or just I don't know quite what to do with those things. But no, I say it was loads of fun. They had the Jets Steelers game on as a bit of a watch party. Apparently, we ended up on the actual broadcast at one point, but apparently I was walking away. So you got the back of me, which is probably the best bit to look at. Just a whole lot of fun all the way around. They showed up. Great event, lots of fun, and really hope they do something like that again in Manchester.
Yeah, it would be cool to get kind of a few more events up north, I think. Yeah, for sure. London there's not just London in the UK. Please, NFL. Yeah. There is many more places. But yeah, I think they had them in Manchester, Berlin, Madrid, Mexico City, Rio, Toronto, and Brisbane. So cool. Obviously, they came to Manchester. It looked like great fun. I saw plenty of stories from people and pictures from yourself. Some other guys I think were there. It was Ballers Meg there as well. Some other people we saw plenty on social media for that. So yeah, it looked cool. Great event. And you got a good game to watch. They had Jet Steelers on because that was a cracker. Really, it was a crazy game.
Well, we kind of I don't know what we expected of that game. I don't know what you guys particularly expected from the game. I feel like there was just no one knew going into it how it was actually going to look. No one thought it was going to look like that though.
Yeah, exactly.
It really was an excellent game. We left late in the third quarter, midway through the third quarter, and came home so I could be home in time for the Lions. Big mistake. Should have stayed. But yeah, great game to have on.
So that's a great segue. Let's talk about it. Obviously, the Lions, it was a rough outing. The Packers, it was 27-13, wasn't it? I feel like the score looked a lot closer than the game was. What was kind of your assessment of the week 1 performance from the Lions, Fletch?
Yeah, I want to say growing pains, new offensive coordinator, Kelvin Shepherd stepping up into the defensive coordinator role. We'll talk about a bit, maybe some growing pains, just some things that are moving. I think for me, looking at the game like that, there was some terrible play calling. I was not a fan of some of that play calling on our side on the offensive side of the ball, especially. But the offensive line was shocking, and most people will talk, and the talk's been in the off season. How will the Lions cope without Ben Johnson and without Aaron Glenn? Which I still think is daft, because our defense was crapped over for 3 years, and then all of a sudden Aaron Glenn's the greatest thing since life. Anyway, not getting into that bit, but yeah, how's the Lions offense going to fare without Ben Johnson? Is it Ben Johnson's going to be the big loss? Losing Ben Johnson will be what? I think looking back now, Kevin Ziegler and Frank Ragnow might be the biggest losses, because it was that part of the old line that just you couldn't make heads or tails of it, and just it was pure chaos. You have a rookie playing in the wrong position, and Graham Glasgow, who's just been moved out of position into centre. Just chaos. And I saw the stat that Goff had 3.09 seconds in the pocket, or time to throw, third most in the league. But I think a lot of that comes from the Packers defense made life very, very, very tough for the Lions. I want to give all the credit to the Packers as well, not just talk about how bad the Lions were. The Packers were fantastic, well schemed, well play called. But yeah, the Goff had the third most time to throw in the league over the weekend, and I think a lot of that comes from second half. We're in obvious passing downs. We have to get the ball upfield. We have to move it. The Packers sent 4 men in a rush and then put seven behind the sticks, and just basically said to Goff, like, you're not having Jameson Williams. We're not giving you that. We're not really giving you any Amon-Ra. We're not really giving you any Laporta. What we'll let you do is we'll let you check it down to Bijan, and then we'll just blow Bijan up.
Yeah.
By the line. And yeah, they had us all game. All game.
Yeah, how would it? Because again, it's week 1. We did in our review, we've got a new kind of weekly overreaction segment, and mine was, I think the Lions might suck again. It is, of course, hyperbole. I don't think they're going to be that bad. But I guess what I was worried about is the points you raised there, the old line. I thought it was just too many. It's just too many changes for them to be just great straight away. You can't just rip up the middle of an offensive line and think everything's going to be okay. And the other bit that I think was really worried about is this was like very much a pre-Dan Campbell Detroit Lions performance, in terms of I felt that they lacked a lot of physicality. I felt they lacked a lot of intensity, and that's something that's been the hallmark, whether they've been good or bad throughout the 3 or 4 years of Dan Campbell, is that they've delivered that no matter what. How do you kind of read that in terms of kind of where you think they are? I think it was just a bad day at the office and things will get better quickly.
I think again, growing pains. I don't think these growing pains will go. Like, we won't walk into Ford Field on Sunday, play the Bears, who, let's face it, that if there's going to be one game that Ben Johnson right now is going to have him right up for, he's going to want to go and take it to the Lions at Ford Field. That's what they're going to all want. The Bears, I listened to the St. Brown podcast the other day, and just the Bears are up for it. They want to help Ben Johnson make a statement. The Lions are ready for it. They want to make a statement. So these are going to be growing pains. I think some of them might be around. It might be a little bit rough on the O-line for a few weeks. What that translates into, given some of the opponents we've got the Ravens coming up very soon. We've got the Chiefs coming up very soon. You kind of hope that the Bears might, if we can beat the Bears, if everyone's just that little bit more up for it, you don't make that losing habit that is so tough to overcome. So I don't know. It's the only way to truly tell will be on Sunday. If there's improvement, great. If it's a lot of the same stuff, then you might see me start panicking and no longer turning up to podcasts.
Well, let's get into the detail of the game just a little bit more then. It is the early game, the 6 p.m. main game on Sky Sports. The Bears are 5.5-point underdogs going to Detroit to play the Lions. The over-under's 47. The Ben Johnson Bowl, we've called it, unsurprisingly. Bears head coach makes Detroit return. Former Lions OC heads to Ford Field looking for a much improved performance. Which NFC North team gets their first win? how do you kind of see it going? Because we saw kind of the Bears on Monday night get off to a good start, like early in the game in the first half, but then it just kind of fall apart for them. And we see the Lions just kind of not get out the blocks at all. How are you expecting kind of the game to play out Sunday, Fletch?
Yeah, I think what you saw on Sunday was a team that was very, very excited. They've got a brand new, very offensive-minded head coach, very excited to get going. And then what you see in the second half is Kevin O'Connell is a very experienced head coach who knows how to win games. And let's face it, JJ McCarthy, I was going to throw this out. JJ McCarthy's a winner. He's 16-0 since losing to TCU in the 2022 semi-finals of the college football playoffs. That man, he's 16-0 since. JJ McCarthy's a winner. They figure it out. So when they figure it out, it just looked a lot of, here's the experience in both of those head coaches showing out a little bit. I thought Caleb Williams looked really good. The offensive scheme seemed a bit off to me. I don't know what they were doing. It seemed a lot of Caleb Williams moving on the fly. So, and again, like we can say Ben Johnson's a genius offensive mind, but at the same time, don't mean, again, they're not going to have growing pains. That is also a brand new O-line almost, filled with almost 5 brand new players. So they've got a lot to get used to. And luckily for them, they've got, like I say, Caleb Williams, who's able to get out and escape some of those pressures, get some of those plays off. So for me, I think for the Lions on Sunday, it's getting Hutch properly going. Can Hutch make the difference he couldn't make on last Sunday? He's got that game in. This O-line might be a little bit more little bit more makeshift. He needs to get in there and don't let Caleb Williams get away and escape like he was able to do so often on Monday night. So defensively, I think that's where a lot of it's going to come from. Those trench battles, just given there's so many questions on those O-lines and D-lines. And then similarly again, it's going to come from the Lions, for me, getting that run game established in a way that they just couldn't on Sunday against the Packers. The O-line has to hold up a lot better. But obviously, the Lions can't just come out and gunsling it. We need to get that run game going. Jahmyr Gibbs needs to start getting yards on the ground. Which, if both of those things can happen, it'll be a good day at the office for us, but remains to be seen.
Yeah, it's interesting Monday sort of watching the game from for the Bears' perspective in terms of, I see they got going really well, kind of that scripted, maybe that first 15 offensive plays, a bit longer, that looked really, really good. I think Caleb started 10 in a row completions. It's kind of as the game got on, he started to look a little bit lost, and I think the complexities of Ben Johnson's offense and what they're asking him to do, and that triggered a lot of the penalty yards that they ended up. I think there were 12 for 127 penalties, the Bears, and a lot of them were illegal shifts, false starts, and the motion. That was the problem coming from the motions in the offense and things like that. Is that similar to kind of maybe how it looked early with kind of Jared Goff and when Ben Johnson was in at Detroit? Did they have similar teething problems?
Not so much, I don't think, just because Ben Johnson was already in the system. Mm-hmm. He was what we all know. I'm not going to say his name because we all know just how I can't say the name, but the previous regime had Ben Johnson in the building. He came through with Dan Campbell. It was similar to when Anthony Lynn was calling play. It felt very similar to the way Anthony Lynn even was calling play. So some of those teething problems with Ben Johnson weren't as much of a problem. Yeah, the first year we became OC, we started 1-6 and didn't exactly look great. But those weren't particularly teething problems, and it was Ben Johnson already knew Goff and was able to kind of put stuff around Goff, whereas Ben Johnson's just walked into this new system and has to put everything around Caleb Williams without previously working with him and without being able to actually, I know what this guy can do and can't do. And I just say that the way the Lions drafted, the way the Lions have brought in talent, I think they kind of made a system built for that. Whereas obviously Ben Johnson's it'll take a year or two to fully get the right players in, the right players ready, and make them gel. Some of those pieces, again, with the Lions early on, that old line, a lot of them were there beforehand, apart from Penei Sewell, who was the first draft pick. Frank Ragnow, Taylor Decker, and there's a few others that were already there in that system together. So this is all new in comparison.
Looking at kind of the game itself, just slightly selfishly from a betting perspective, so the Lions are 5.5-point favourites. I think it started at -4.5, and it's been bouncing back and forth. The money, with the way the money's gone, I think we are 78% of the money, 40% of the bets on the Lions to cover. Suggests this is going to be a get-right game for the Lions. These are tricky, but how important is it, you think, is it for the Lions just to get on the board? So not necessarily worry about covering, but dropping 0-2 and 0-2 in the division, I think is something that's going to be potentially very, very difficult to dig out of at this point of the season.
Massive. It's massive. Again, I said about habits. Losing and winning both become habits, and we've seen just how quickly those habits are built in the NFL. You've seen it with the Cowboys, how a loss you shouldn't have turns into another loss, and it just becomes a habit. So I think first and foremost, it's just making sure that losing again doesn't become a habit. You don't want to have to be going into the Ravens in week 4, the Chiefs in week 6, etc., and thinking we need to turn a ship around. You want to be going into those games going, not saying we can afford this loss, but we're not needing to turn a ship. We can go play our game. So it's massive for that, really, in my opinion.
Excellent. Yeah, it should be a good one. It's probably the best of the game of the early slates, which is, of course, why it's on Sky. Where do you think the difference? What's going to be the key to the Lions' victory, then, do you think, here on Sunday, Fletch?
Jahmyr Gibbs. It has to be Jahmyr Gibbs, because again, our entire offense is predicated on getting the run game going, and it's Jahmyr Gibbs that's going to start it. Or David Montgomery, but I'm primarily looking at Jahmyr Gibbs here because he's the one who's going to bring the explosive plays. He's the one that you're really kind of looking for. So I think, offensively, it's Jahmyr Gibbs, because get Jahmyr Gibbs going, get that run game going. You can get Goff going. That unlocks Jameson Williams. That unlocks that unlocks Amon-Ra St. Brown. And what I'm really excited for, I need to see if he starts Isaac Tesla.
Yeah. There's a lot of noise and positivity around Isaac Tesla, with good reason. I mean, I know Byron is a huge fan. I think Byron took him 150 to 1 to be offensive rookie of the year. He's already down to 50 to 1. And that's from like one touchdown catch on Sunday.
One touchdown on the 3 snaps he played, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, what's he going to bring? So there's been a lot of noise about Isaac Tesla being a bit of a steal, and that he could be a really, really good option for the Lions. What have you seen out of him so far that you really like?
He is a DAWG. He's a dog. Even in preseason, he's got no quit in him. And he's willing, he'll put his body in places where a lot of rookies you wouldn't think would put the body in. He's confident, and he's got really good hands, safe hands. And you see the catch at the end of the game. Now, granted, it didn't do much for us in terms of it made the score look a little bit more respectable. But what a catch it was! To get the feet down, to bring the ball in. That's the kind of thing that he brings. Those safe hands. Just an absolute dog.
Yeah, excellent. Yeah, and it was a great catch. And I was looking at it thinking, I don't know whether he got it in or not. But yeah, Byron was on Tesla for anytime touchdown score at 9-2. So he was very happy when that heel came down in the end zone before his body did. So I expect we'll be seeing a lot of those bets from Byron over the course of the season. Give us a quick game prediction then. Do you think it's -5.5 Lions? Do you think I assume obviously you think they're going to win? Do you think they'll cover?
I think we'll win, and cover there. You've got it at 5.5.
5.5, yeah.
No.
So a relatively close game then, yeah?
It's gonna be one of those kind of games. Maybe again the score doesn't reflect the outcome, but the Bears always ride us close anyway. Ben Johnson's, they'll all be right up for it. It'll be a game that ends up a lot closer. And as I said earlier to someone, I think it's going to come down to who's got the ball on the final possession. It'll probably come down to, can Jake Bates make another walk-off field goal type thing, which so far he's been able to do quite well.
The Bears aren't under pressure because they got booed off at the end on Monday night, which is rough. Week 1, when it was a 1-possession game as well. But yeah, they got booed off kind of that second half collapse that they had. So I think if they turn up on Sunday and stink out the joy, there'd be a lot of noise already here. And Chicago is not particularly forgiving or patient sports town. So
not anymore, no.
Be interested to see how it goes if they fall to 0-2. Excellent. Fletch, as part of obviously being a guest on our preview show, you have the pleasure of taking the 4-fold challenge. In short, me, Byron, and Joe were crap last week. We had a terrible start to it. Who did we get to? Byron had the best shot. He went 2-2. Me and Joe went 1-3. And our guest Gurneet from Fantasy Game Day last week, he went 1-2-1. So pretty disastrous start to the 4-fold challenge. Fingers crossed you can get us off to a better run with it starting in week 2. Who've you got? Let's start with your favourite then. And who've you got as your favourite for week 2?
The Bills.
The Bills, they are 6.5 at the minute. 6.5 point favourites against the Jets. What did you make of that game on Sunday, the Bills Ravens? It was incredible stuff, wasn't
it? Right, I imagine if given the nature of the show, most of your listeners will be well into the NFL by now and trying to make. If you are new to the NFL, I'm going to teach everybody a mistake not to make. I was watching the game on Sunday night. I got to just inside the 4th quarter. I got to just when the Ravens had scored inside the 4th quarter. And I said, I'm in the mood with football today. In fact, I'm in the mood with football all weekend because Michigan let me down.
Oh, shit, yeah.
I'm done with football. The game's over anyway. I'm done. Turned the TV off, went to bed, woke up the next morning and went, shit. Oh, God, what have I done? This is not the first time it's happened. I don't care if your team is 20 points down with 3 minutes to go. Anything can happen, especially if you've got Josh Allen as your quarterback. Why I doubted Josh Allen, I don't know. And then we get something similar out of JJ McCarthy on Monday. So the only real thought I have on Sunday night now is just I made, after 13, 14 years now in this sport, I made a rookie mistake.
It's hard, isn't it? Like when you at that point, Sunday night football, you get into like 4 a.m. at that point when kind of the 4th quarter's getting going. It is tough. But yeah, you did miss a good one. Incredible game. But yeah, so you're expecting the Bills to kind of hammer the Jets then as kind of 6.5 point favourites?
Yeah. I think the Jets look really good and I'm excited. They had the top ranked offense on PFF. Justin Fields looked really good. The Bills defense is a little suspect and has been a little suspect, but yeah, given the coaching prowess of Sean McDermott, given the coaching, and given just what Josh Allen's able to do, I think the Bills are absolutely going to tighten things up. I see nothing else other than Aaron Glenn kind of having a bit of a welcome to being a head coach, my friend. This is what it's a bit like for you being in the same division as the Bills.
Yeah, it is. Could be tough, and I feel this could be a bit of a weirdly, even though because they lost last week, I feel this might be a bit of a letdown spot for the Jets, just kind of coming back down to earth a little bit.
Yeah,
because they did kind of play so well last week, even in a loss. So yeah. We'll see. We'll see how that one goes. Yeah, Bills 6.5 point favourites. Weirdly, it's pretty split. The betting's split on it currently in terms of money to bet. So it's not kind of tilted particularly one side. So we'll obviously there's plenty of time for that to change before Sunday. Excellent. Who's your underdog of the week, Fletch? Then, who are you taking as your dog this week? That's not obviously.
I've really racked my brain on this one. It's a close one in terms of kind of where they're an underdog. But give me the Patriots. They're officially an underdog. I kind of stand by Mike McDaniel being the first to get fired out of all of the coaches this season. He's on the hottest of hot seats, and I think he's kind of checking out a little bit.
Yeah, it looked bad, didn't it? It really looked bad on Sunday for Miami against the Indianapolis Colts. They were, a shit show was generous, I think, from what to
absolutely. Absolutely, very, very generous. Tyreek Hill wants to be literally anywhere other than Miami right now. They've got obviously the stuff going on in and around that. So Mike Vrabel will be one of those. They'll have the Patriots better than they were against the Raiders. They didn't look great against the Raiders. Yeah. They really didn't. But I think he'll have them shaped up in a way that I don't think the Dolphins will shape up and be better. So officially they're underdogs by a point. So
yeah,
I'll take the Patriots.
And this makes sense. This is probably going to be the most common sense pick of the week at the minute as Patriots and underdog. I don't think this will be Patriots +1 by the time we get to maybe even Friday. I think this will change and flip. I always get this feeling with games like this where it just, where you get a line like this where it just doesn't make sense why the Patriots are an underdog here because Miami are absolutely terrible. And that just gives me the feeling of I'm going to get got here if I go on the Patriots because everything says the Patriots should be a favourite here. Not a big favourite because of where they are, but absolutely the Patriots should be a favourite here and they're not. I feel like I'm going to get got by the bookies here. They want me to bet. They want me to bet Patriots +1.
Yeah,
and when that happens, usually they're right and the other thing happens. But it makes complete sense that everyone will be taking the Patriots while it's got a plus number next to it because it just makes too much sense.
Exactly.
I can't remember. I think we all got by. I want to say week 2 last year. The Rams, for some reason, were an underdog against the Cardinals, but it was like +1, +1.5. And then we're like, well, we're all on the Rams because the Cardinals beat them by 30, and it was like, oh. So we'll see, but it completely makes sense. I think it's probably it will be the most popular underdog of the week.
Yeah, it's a funny one week 2 because everything we know about teams still stems from now we've got a little bit from them in week 1. Yeah. But look, last year the Saints look like potential Super Bowl champions to start the first 2 weeks last year, and then look where they are. And I think Mrs. Fletch isn't in the room, and I do believe Mrs. Redmond is nowhere near. So I'll say this now. They're probably the worst team in the National Football League right now, Pat, aside from the Dolphins. So those first week 2s, everything we think is right. Some of it is, but some of it is horrendously wrong. Yeah,
it is interesting. But like I say, I'm with you. I think this absolutely should be the Patriots all the way. But then I just got that sinking feeling in my stomach. I'm going to get got. So we've got your favourite. It's a very AFC East heavy to start. So we've got the Bills as your 6.5 point favourite. Your Patriots as your 1 point dog at the minute. Who have you got for? Give us the under first. We'll finish. We'll end with the over. So give us where do you see it being a bit of a struggle for points, or where do you think the under is going to hit this week?
I think Rams Titans will be a bit of an under.
Rams Titans. That's under 42 at the minute. Yeah. What did you make of Cam Ward's kind of debut last week?
I'm gonna be perfectly honest. I haven't looked much at it. I really haven't. Not for any other reason than just other things have taken precedent since then. I do need to have a little bit more of a look. So I'd rather not give just a generic crappy answer to that question, but also
he did all right. I think he took a tough, horrible game to start, like Broncos on the road. Obviously, one of the best, if not the best, defense in the NFL. I thought he did a good job. Like the stats, stat line looked horrible, but the Titans as a whole struggle. But I thought he did pretty well. So interested to see how he goes on. Rams another tough defense, but it's his first home game, So we'll see. We do tend to see rookie quarterbacks struggle to put up points. So I think under 42 here is a good shout because the Rams also really struggled on offense last week as well.
Yeah, and that Titans defense, I think, is sneaky good. Yeah, I like that Titans defense. And I think when it comes to the end of the season, again, we spoke about this on Hurdle, the line, like, we could be looking at that Titans defense as one of, like, statistically one of the best in the league. They will try and do everything they can to keep Cam Ward in games, and they will do that to a good extent. So, like I say, Rams struggled to get going last week on offense against a good defense in the Titans. The Titans who are struggling to get going on offense a little bit against a very good defense in the Rams. Both teams, I can very much see this being the under.
Yeah. Excellent, under 42. And then, give us your last pick then, Fletch, your over for this week.
I think I've gone back and forth on this one about 10 times. Every game apart from that one I've looked at and thought would be an over. But give me the Cardinals Panthers.
Oh, that's a very unexpected choice. Cardinals Panthers, it's over 44. What makes you think then this is going to hit the over, Fletch?
So part of it is pure ignorance. I refuse to be wrong on saying that Bryce Young's going to be fantastic this year. So I'm doubling down on it in just about every way that I can. But I think the Cardinals, look, again, against the Saints, granted only put up 20. But that Marvin Harrison Jr., Kyler Murray partnership starting to show up a little bit more. I expect it to get better next week. I expect the Cardinals to just get going that little bit more. Bryce Young has he lost some very good talent. He lost his trustworthy guy in Adam Thielen. What I've heard is that even in practice, like he's slinging it to Tech-Mac, and Tech-Mac is bringing those slings in. So I expect the Panthers to be a bit more exciting and a bit better on offense and give a little bit more. Potentially put up a few points. And then, like I say, the Cardinals as well, I expect them to just be a little bit more free-flowing on offense. Should be a very, very fun one. Normally that means the overall hit on the fun ones like that.
It's a big number as well, 44. So yeah, it doesn't take much then to kind of feel like a couple of quick scores in that game, and then you kind of get moving towards the over. I think Bryce has to. I think Bryce Young is going to have to show more this week because it was so bad last week. I feel he's going to get a real short leash again. That if we're kind of 2 or 3 weeks in and he's kind of back to how he was at the start of last season, they're just going to Andy Dalton in again, and they're going to do the whole dance again, and pull him out and bench him, and then bring him back later when Andy Dalton gets injured or whatever, and they'll get excited again. They're just going to go around that loop with him. So I think these next kind of 2-3 weeks for Bryce are huge. He's got to kind of just get to a solid level to just kind of stay in, and then hopefully he pushes on, because I do think there's something there, but it doesn't help. I think there's short of talent around him as well, so we shall see. But yeah, good shout. So Bills -6.5, favorite Patriots +1, Cardinals Panthers over 44, and Rams Titans under 42. Works out at 12-1. So if you like Fletch's fourfold, go give it a whirl. You'll hear the rest of or you'll hear mine, Byron, and Joe's fourfolds later in the show, and we'll see if we can get a winner this week after a putrid start last week, I think is the only way to describe it. Fletch, I know you've been busy because you've got recording soon, but just give us a last shout out for us. Where can we catch all you've got going on?
Yeah. So the best place to go is to start in the middle. Go to the AAW network, which on Twitter, X, whatever we're calling it these days, it'll always be Twitter to me. It's still the MEN to me, and I know to you it's the Amex still. But yeah, go to the AAW network. On Twitter, it's AAW_network. On everything else, it's AAW network. Apparently, we couldn't get that one on Twitter because it's a wrestling one that's not been used in years, but we can't get it. But the best place to go, like I say, go there. That's in the middle. Everything else just kind of feeds off that. Hurdle the line stuff, college football stuff. Everything else just kind of comes off it. If you like me personally, which I know by now you don't, it's Lions Guy Fletch on just about everything. people get sick of me very quickly, apparently. So, yeah, Lions Guy Fletch on just about everything. TikTok, Twitter. I'm trying to do TikTok game a little bit more, mate. It's the thing that we're trying to do now. And Instagram. If you want memes, go to Instagram. That's what tends to be what I post. And everything else from there, because everything else just kind of goes off the way of those two accounts, really.
Oh, also shout out for the Sleep at Work Network Discord as well. We'll get a plug for that as
well. Of which we have the Good Teams Win, Great Teams Cover betting corner. So when you do, if you want to come and give me a bit of crap for the bets that I choose, if they do not come through at the weekend, get over to the Discord. There are plenty of football chats with NFL, college football, Britball, ELF, which might not be a thing anymore. That's happening.
Yeah, I saw that this week. Yeah.
Live stuff. Well, I say live stuff. I'm not talking live stuff, but memes, TV, music. Some of those conversations get going, and then I say we have the Good Teams Win, Great Teams Cover betting corner, where share your bets. Paul and all that, you'll be sharing, and you kind of put some of your tips and some of your ideas in there that you're looking at. Share your betting slips. Share what you're putting on this weekend, and share your wins. If you win, tell us, because I like hearing people celebrate the fantasy game day stuff this weekend. I was like, good for you. I won nothing, but good for you.
Yeah, we're terrible at that as well, to be fair. But yeah, you should absolutely. And I tend to put all my college bets in there, so I'll just share the slips a bit more from the show for an NFL perspective. But yeah, good to get more people in there as well and come in and enjoy the chat. I think I've got a big Saturday watching college football, so I'll be in there a bit more this week. It should be
9 games for free. Not that. I don't know why that's 9. That's not 9.
Close.
9 games for free on DAZN this week. 6 of them. That's where this comes from on Saturday as well. So, including
we're still rolling for free on DAZN at the minute as well, which is good.
It's so as to the best of my knowledge, yeah. When the lock shows up, I will tell everybody. But until then, it's not locked. So
excellent. Make the most of it and get some college football watch. Excellent, Fletch. Thanks for joining us. We appreciate you coming on.
No,
best of luck to the Lions this weekend, and best of luck to your fourfold. We'll see if your picks, if you're the first one to hit a fourfold this year, that'll be awesome. And then we've got the rest of the show. So make sure you go following Fletch, the AEW Network, and all the shows. Go give the guys your support. And yeah, we'll crack on with the rest of our NFL Week 2 preview.
No.
Thanks to Fletch there. Great guest as always. Great to have him back on the show. Make sure you go follow the Sleep at Work Network at AEW Networks. Available on Instagram. They're on Twitter. And go follow Hurdle the Line, their NFL podcast, College Football UK, and the Fantasy Den as well. They've got plenty going on. So go give those guys plenty of support. Let's finish off talking about the Bears and the Lions, though, with our best bets, of course, for the game. I've gone under Bears-Lions on this one. Yeah, I think both of them were just so slow. I think, the Lions particularly so slow out the gates last week against the Packers. I forgot who they played there for a second. Against the Packers. And yeah, actually there was that O-line, the interior is a bit of a mess. I think it's just going to take a few weeks to get sorted out. So I think there might just still be some issues getting the offense going. And the Bears, after like a really nice 10, 15 play kind of scripted start, just kind of hit a wall, didn't they? So, yeah, I really, really like the under here. Bears road games, unders 8-2 in the last 10. I just think it's going to be a bit of a struggle again. And I got a bit bowled by half a point, but it doesn't really matter, does it? Whether it's 46.5 or 47, I guess it takes the push out of the way. Well, that's what happens when you record a show early. The lines move. So, yeah. Under for me, guys. What have you got?
On this one, or we're moving our overlay along?
It's coming, I think.
There we go. Well, I didn't know if it was me or Joe to speak. Yeah, Amon-Ra St. Brown, 100-plus receiving yards at 7-2. They've got to get him going this week. I think it's got to be some kind of bounce-back week. Yeah, the Lions O-line looked appalling, but I think there's fair argument. The Packers have got the best front seven in football right now. And obviously caught the lines very cold last week. It's got to improve this week. Amon-Ra's such an obvious target for getting the volume there. And per fantasy points, wide receiver cornerback matchup report, this is only 1 week into the season, so it can be a bit of a pinch of salt because it's not a huge data sample yet. But he has the best wide receiver cornerback matchup of the week. Nick McLeod, the Bears slot corner, gave up the most fantasy points per route run last week. And Amon-Ra has the biggest advantage per his own history versus that player. So, yeah, I think 72 for Amon-Ra to go over 100 yards. I mean, it's not a crazy high number. I mean, obviously it's plenty, but at 72, I just think it's a really nice value.
Yeah, I think that's a good value play for sure. And Joe?
Yeah, I've got Ron Dunsey, anytime touchdown scorer. Yeah, I thought he had a decent first game. Like we mentioned, the Caleb Williams started off well. And obviously, I know this sound drop's probably not gone, but it is a revenge game. With Ben Johnson going back to Detroit. So I think he's... Let's do that twice. That's how big a revenge game it is. Yeah, so I think he's going to script it up. And I think Dunsey is... we talked a lot about him in the preseason. I think he is going to be their number one wide receiver. So 2-1 anytime touchdown scorer. I do like them odds.
Excellent. Good stuff. It should be a good one. The Ben Johnson Bowl, as we've christened it. Yeah, we'll see. And that is, of course, the Sky Sports early game. Into the late game. And it's a Super Bowl rematch in week 2. And this feels really big. Maybe more for the Chiefs than the Eagles. I don't know. But it does feel really, really, really big. Game early in the season. Eagles -1 and I get on the road at Kansas to take on the Chiefs. Kansas City to take on the Chiefs. Over under 47. Chiefs out for revenge in Super Bowl rematch. Just 2 games in and the Eagles and Chiefs meet again. Will the Chiefs right the wrong of Super Bowl 59 or will Philly dominate once again?
This is another revenge game, I hear.
Was that just the last end?
There we go. Goodness me. I was like, when we're going to hit here?
The sound bites were so smooth last week.
Yeah, Joe, come on. I think the Eagles, I mean, it's 1 point. Do you know the last time the Chiefs were home underdogs in the regular season? Or who the opponent was?
Was it Philadelphia now?
No, it wasn't. It was week 9, 2023, at home against the Miami Dolphins. And I went back and checked because I was like, oh, it must have been a Chase Daniel week. Like maybe it was after Mahomes hurt his knee, but like that was early in, it was like 2021. Yeah, I don't understand. It was the 6-2 Dolphins playing the 6-2 Chiefs, and the Dolphins were 1 point favorites. The Chiefs won by a touchdown, but
was that Germany? I feel like might have been Germany game.
You're quite right. It was Germany, yeah. But still, it's listed as a home game, so I'm going to give them that as a home game. But the Eagles have been home away favorites in Kansas City twice in the history. They've won once as such. October 11th, 1992.
Nice.
What was the number 1 single in the US, I will say?
Number 1. That was better. That was a good timing on the soundbite. So October 92, America.
This song was number 1 in the UK as well, just not this week. I'm guessing it was either the week before or the week after. And this is, I'll give you a little clue because I know it's not giving you much to go on here.
Yeah.
Philly Heroes.
Boys to Men.
Boys to Men, Joe, bang. Got there just in time. Then spent a record breaking.
You laugh.
I said it first.
He said it first. On my timer, you both said it, but Joe got there first. I mean, I'll give you some side credit because you didn't cheat, but you got there later. 13 weeks at number 1. It was broken later in the year by Whitney Houston, I Will Always Love You. But yeah, it was a US record. End of the road, yeah, indeed, yeah. Which is where you were just behind Joe. Joe was at the start of the road, getting that answer in immediately.
I think that's just because he's geographically closer to you, and therefore it must have got there quicker. And
quite possibly, yeah. You need to get yourself moved if you want credit, mate. So, but yeah, is this the end of the road for the Chiefs as division favourites? They're currently tied with the Chargers, and I think the Eagles are going to put the stink on the Chiefs here.
Are we walking into this? I think Byron, me and you were on the Eagles for ATS Picks.
Yeah.
Are we walking into this? Because what's changed massively since the Super Bowl where the Eagles kicked the ever-living shit out of him?
Well, they lost Josh Sweat. They lost the tackle. Williams, I forgot his name. Give me a hand here. They lost the defensive tackle anyway. Milton Williams, thanks, Joe.
Williams, yeah. Mackay Becton as well, I guess, but yeah.
And that's Mackay Becton, and that's I think they've lost a DB. Darius Slay went to Pittsburgh, but I mean that was a release. I think they were happy enough to see him go. And CJ went to Houston. All negative, but they did have Jihad Campbell. They've just added Zadarius Smith. They've just added Tank Bigsby, question mark. They traded for Sam Howell. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of your big moves. But I think the Chiefs have got kind of noticeably worse. Lost Joe Tooney.
Yeah.
They have lost Rashee Rice. Xavier Worthy practiced today. Maybe plays.
I think he's going to play, but he's very, very injured. He's very banged up. He dislocated his shoulder on Sunday.
I'll put myself out there as I'm a big question of Travis Kelce. I don't think he's moving like he used to. I mean, I think he was bad last year, truthfully. He just got a lot of volume. And the Eagles whooped them last year in the Super Bowl. It wasn't a close game by any means. I just struggle. I don't, my overreaction take of the week one was that I think the Chiefs aren't a playoff team. I think the Eagles, we've seen them beat the Cowboys in a really close game without Jalen Carter. You add Jalen Carter back into this mix, and I think the biggest soft point of the Chiefs' all offensive line is that guard, Somatai. I'm saying it wrong, but you know who I mean, Kingsley. If Jalen Carter's going to line up on him, and then you get Jordan Davis on reduced snaps. I mean, Jordan Davis played like 80 snaps last week. That isn't what Jordan Davis is there for. He's in to come in and eat snaps when it's advantageous. He's not there to play every single snap. When you can now get that rotation going again, you get Zadarius Smith in there. Josh Uche, I thought, had a great debut. Really underrated, cheap signing in free agency. I just think the Chiefs are going to really, really struggle on offense to keep what happened in the Super Bowl from happening again.
Yeah. Joe, I mean, what's the case for the Chiefs here, Joe? Because I think in our ATS, you're on the other side of it, unless you flipped it late. No, you didn't. What are you seeing here? What are you seeing here that makes you think the Chiefs can win?
I think it's sometimes just like a gut feeling. Like, I just can't imagine the Chiefs going 0-2. I feel that's like being at home as well. Obviously, that's a big difference if it's having the Arrowhead crowd, because it felt like the Super Bowl, it was very Eagles heavy crowd. Because if you're a Chiefs fan, you've had plenty of chances to go to the Super Bowl. So obviously that noise is going to be different. The Eagles have got that. The Eagles obviously played really well on offense, but they were playing the Cowboys, and I think the Cowboys defense is good. But I always think like Spagnuolo will have tricks up his sleeve. AJ Brown didn't get anything. I worry about Adoree Jackson, the second cornerback for the Eagles, because he got picked on. The Chiefs really haven't got anyone, like a CeeDee Lamb to make that count. But this could be a big game for Hollywood Brown or Juju. So it might be the Chiefs we wanted them to be. It might be, I think it's going to be a very Chiefs what they were last year, a lot of quick balls because of that all-line issue and because of how effective the Eagles are on the defensive line. That's a worry with the two good linebackers in Zach Bond and Jihad Campbell. I think he had a great first game. But it's just that like instinct is like, are the Chiefs really going to go into? Or are we going to be sat here? It's going to be a close game, field goal at the end. Just clean up some of their mistakes, because I know the Chargers beat them and we're really impressed with the Chargers, but when the Chiefs were coming back, I was expecting the Chiefs. I think it was more the Chargers rather than the Chiefs. I feel like the Chiefs still got that winning mentality, so it's more being at home. I just can't imagine them going out 0-2.
Yeah, I do think there's an element as well as like you won't go broke betting on Mahomes.
So there is that.
It is a bit of like that Mike Tomlin thing, Patrick Mahomes, of like, when they're underdogs, like I feel nervous, even though like in my brain I'm like, okay, this is such a good bet. Like the Eagles are obviously going to whoop them. They beat them so heavily in the Super Bowl. But there's just that little bit of nerves because it is Mahomes at home as an underdog. And you mentioned the kicking game, Joe. We didn't discuss this in the recap. I just wanted to give a shout out to a real, piece of shit Harrison Butker, to be fair. But like the process to get that field goal away at the end of the second half, I think that was one of the best plays of the week. That was unbelievable. No timeout, no ability to spike it because it was fourth down. They were so organized. And to do that in week 1, I thought that was so impressive. And that, again, that could be a factor down the stretch in this game. If it is a 2-point game, 1-point game, I would trust the Chiefs special teams unit, I think, or the kicking unit more than I think probably any other kicking unit in football. I thought that was so impressive.
Just hope he doesn't kick wide right, you know what I mean? In the second half.
With the way how the money's gone on this week, it's flattened out a little bit, but I think it was maybe by some point on Tuesday when I was looking, 94% of the money, but only 27% of the bets were on the Eagles -1. So all the big money was going on the Eagles. It's flattened a bit. It's 82% of the money to 34% of the bets, but all the big money's on the Eagles. Yeah. I feel like I'm walking into a trap here. I'm on the Eagles as well. But yeah, I think, some of those points, Mahomes 12-2-1 ATS as an underdog. So good in these positions. Chiefs so good at home. They've won 13 in a row at home, regular season and playoffs. Not great covering, 7-6 ATS, but they've won 13 in a row. And you get last team to beat the Chiefs at home, anyone?
The Raiders?
Christmas Day. Christmas Day.
Antonio Pierce, yeah.
The Raiders, where they barely, I think they might complete like one pass in the second half or something. Aiden O'Connell beat it. But that was the third in a run of 3 consecutive home losses, which started with a loss to Philadelphia Eagles. Yeah, it's on where Sirianni started mouthing off. After the win. I don't know, just Eagles are great on the road. Eagles are 5-1 ATS in the last 6 road games. I just think the Eagles are going to kill them again. I really do. Mm-hmm. And I was so tempted to go for that kind of alt spread, 10, 14, but I've not. I've just left it as it is. Before I flick over to the bets, Joe, I've just taken Eagles -1, 10-11. I just think they're too strong. I don't think enough's changed from a Kansas perspective, and all of a sudden they're going to kind of turn on, be able to bridge the gap of where these two teams are, I think.
Yeah, I've gone Patrick Mahomes anytime touchdown on the ground, obviously, or he could catch one, but not throwing it. Crucially, I just think with the issues they have, Mahomes again gets in that zone in these big games, and he goes running, and he's normally really, really good at it. He had a touchdown on opening game, right? I've not imagined that. Didn't he have a touchdown? Did he have a big play down there?
Running a lot is what he was doing. I don't know if he scored a touchdown week 1, did he?
I think he did. But anyway, he's going to run this week, and he's going to score a touchdown this week. That Russian offense looks dry. Pacheco doesn't look like he's recovered from his broken leg. Kareem Hunt is 45 years old. They had the rookie active Brashard Smith, but I don't know if he had any actual touches. He might have had a couple of targets. There's nothing going in that running game. So I think Mahomes is your threat on the ground, especially in the red zone.
Yeah, apologies. He did score a touchdown last week.
I thought he did, cheers.
Yeah.
Great receiver, though, Kareem Hunt.
Yeah, there you go. I've got Kareem Hunt at 20+ receiving yards. It was 3-1. I was shocked, how good the odds were for Kareem Hunt with his yards. I was so tempted to try go to 50, but when I saw 20+ receiving yards at that price, I thought he got 10 last week. I think he had 2 catches for 10 yards. 10,
yeah.
So 20 yards, he only needs to hit like one big pass, and it feels like with this rush, Patrick Mahomes is going to get it out quickly. So I wonder if Hunt's going to be on the field a little bit more than Pacheco. So I do like the 20+ yards receiving yards because, like you said, he's not much of a rusher. So get him out, throw them quick balls, and hopefully, he gets a big one and pays off nicely.
45, he's only 30, 45-year-old career.
I know, he's just been in the league for a long time, and he does look better than Pacheco, which
that's scary.
I kind of think Pacheco might just be done. I hope not, because I love watching him play, but he just looks so just laborious to watch him run now.
Yeah, such a shame. Any more on Eagles Chiefs? All right, let's head to Sunday Night Football. Falcons at Vikings, Falcons are 3.5-point underdogs. Over under is 44.5. Young signal callers take centre stage. Sophomore QBs face off after promising performances in week 1. Will Penix Jr. or McCarthy steal the spotlight in prime time? Revenge game because I need to remember to leave a pause. And it's because, of course, JJ McCarthy's Michigan beat Michael Penix Jr.'s Washington in the national championship game last year, 2023 season for 2024. Even though, you could say Michigan cheated the whole year, but that's a whole other thing. How are we kind of seeing this one going?
I think there's a lot comes down to what Falcons pass catchers are fit and ready. If Drake London and Darnell Mooney are out, I think this is going to be a real uphill battle for the Falcons. Obviously, it's a Sunday night football, so it won't be in fantasy game day. But, if you're playing any of those fantasy game day type things, or the Sunday night slate, Bijan Robinson and PPR, I think, could be a monster this week. But I really like the Vikings. I have done all off season. 3.5 points. I think I'll still take the Vikings there, even if London and Mooney do play. I'm less confident about Mooney, truthfully. He's missed practice again today, Thursday. So we will see. But yeah, I think after last week, the Falcons really need truthfully, they need a win, but they really need a good performance to kind of put that to bed from last week. But I'm not sure they get it going into Minnesota, truthfully.
Yeah, I do worry about that. I was going to say, I do worry about that run game. After we talked about it last week, that Penix nearly got as many yards as the 2 running backs. I think they need to get that going. It's obviously not the easiest against this Vikings team and this Vikings defense. But I was impressed with Penix Jr. Obviously, coming into this year, I know he ended last year really well, but we were like, what's he good? How is he going to look? But obviously, having all that experience in college has certainly helped him. And when you judge the 2 quarterbacks, it looked like Penix was the one who's played a lot more compared to JJ McCarthy, who somehow, I don't know if you saw, got the NFC Offensive Player of the Week, just having one good quarter. So, so I think it's going to be a big game. I've learned the Falcons this one, again, more on, I feel like these are 1-2 1-1 teams. I feel like the Falcons played well week 1, and, not everyone goes 0-3 and the other teams go 3-0. So there has to be some upsets or some, some teams beating some strong teams. So I've just got the Falcons eking this one out. I think it's going to be close again, just because I think the Falcons defense, especially the back end, played well. Xavier Watts had an outstanding game in week 1. And I think, are they going to be able to put JJ McCarthy under pressure? Because, he had a great 1 quarter, but he's got to do it for a full game, because you can't get away with it every week.
Yeah, that's true. Obviously, for 3 quarters, it looked like he was a scared child. It really did. It looked like the moments were too big for him. They were just every single play, the play clock was going down to kind of 2-3 seconds before they were getting even close to getting it off. And that's tough on the road, I guess, in Chicago, week 1. I think maybe that just kind of flipped, to be able to just kind of flip the switch and then play that 4th quarter as they did. I think they might kind of work through this quicker than you might expect in terms of kind of where he's at. Kevin O'Connell does such a good job. And I do think this is going to be a close game. I flip-flopped, really did, back and forth. But then I remembered the Vikings are the kings of the 1-score games. They're the king of the close games. If this goes close, if this is close in the 4th quarter, the Vikings are going to win this game. I hate the number. I hate the number, 3.5. I hate the number. But yeah, I've taken the Vikings. I did flip-flop. Vikings are pretty good against the Falcons. 7-2-1 ATS in the last 10 meetings between the Vikings and the Falcons. The Vikings are 7-2-1. Falcons pretty bad on the road. 3-6-1 ATS in their last 10 road games, and they're 2-8 against the spread in their last 10 as a road underdog. I did think they did pretty well last week, and I really thought they let the Bucs off the hook. Really did. So that's what's kind of had me battling all week. And in the end, I'm just going to take the Vikings. If I think it's going to be close, I think the Vikings can win it by 1 score. I just hope it's by a touchdown, not a field goal, is where I'm at. And that was my bet.
It feels like we've talked about this in the review, where there's certain teams who know how to win and there's certain teams who know how to lose. And it feels like, again, it was a big example, both of these teams, where the Vikings know how to win, the Bears know how to lose, and the Bucs know how to win, and the Falcons don't. So yeah, if it comes down to the last possession, then yeah, I'll probably lean the Vikings. But yeah, like you mentioned, that 3.5, I can just see it be like a field goal to win it. So the Vikings go. So we'll move on to your bet since you've already quickly chatted about it. But
yeah, Vikings minus 3.5 for me. Trusting Kevin O'Connell, Vikings win close games. That's just where I'm at with it. There's no real more science to it than that, I think. And yeah, I'm leaning to you, but weird because for 3 quarters it was a mess. But I'm leaning you back. Actually, I think that might be better than I thought they were going to be, and that might be a big overreaction just for 1 quarter of JJ McCarthy.
And they will, I think, have Christian Darrisaw back this week. He's practiced fully today, Thursday again, so that'd be a big boost anyway. Again, one of the top 10 left tackles in football. My bet is Kyle Pitts anytime touchdown, 4-1. Somebody's got to be able to catch the ball in Atlanta. And he actually looked pretty good against the Bucs.
Yeah.
I know Kyle Pitts gets dinged an awful lot, but he looked the fittest and smoothest running I've seen him in a couple of years. So I don't know if those injury issues have finally gone away, certainly in the short term. But again, especially if Drake London's out, somebody needs to be catching the ball. And even if Drake London is there, I think Pitts is probably going to be the second target, maybe third behind Bijan, but certainly downfield target. So 4-1 anytime touchdown, I think, is more than backable.
yeah, and my bet, I've got Bijan Robinson and Aaron Jones to both get 30+ receiving yards. I think Barry mentioned I think Bijan's going to get a heavy dose of the ball. Last week he got over 100 yards. I think he may have got 100 yards catching, and Aaron Jones got 44 receiving yards with 3 receptions. It feels like Aaron Jones is more the receiving kind of back, and Jordan Mason is the bell cow. So I think both of them to get 30+ receiving yards, 5-1. I was going to just go Bijan, but I did see that Aaron Jones one just to double it up to high the odds, because again, it feels like it's that kind of league where most defenses are stopping the big plays. So they just got these quarterbacks are still both young quarterbacks, so they're going to just dump it off and use the running back or tight end are the 2 main. So I do like your Kyle Pitts one as well. So yeah, we're in agreement there.
Excellent, good stuff. We've got double Monday Night Football. The first one mentioned at the start, double Monday Night Football. Monday Night Football, number 1. The Buccaneers at the Texans. Buccaneers are 2.5-point underdogs. Over under is 42.5 in this one. Bucs look to Tex control of South early in Houston. That I don't lie is terrible. Buoyant Bucs look to start with second road win to kick off season. Will CJ Stroud and the Texans have a response to limp week 1 showing? What are your thoughts?
I'm surprised that Buccaneers are 2.5-point underdogs in this game, truthfully.
I am as well.
We can get to the bets in a little bit, but I really, really worry about the Texans' offense. That O-line is so poor, and their play calling. The amount of just halfback dives or halfback up the, straight up the centers, but essentially, and they're not moving anybody. And I know the Rams have a really good defensive front, so it's not going to be easy. It's not going to be easy against Clyde Johansson and Vita Vea either. And Hassan Reddick had a great start to the season. So I just think that's kind of a team killer. We knew, we kind of thought it was going to be bad. It might be the worst in the league again. And, you can change the culture as much as you want, but they lost talent and they replaced it with inferior talent. And they're not making up with any scheme advantages as far as I can tell. I worry about people who've drafted Nico Collins high in fantasy. I'm one of them in some leagues.
I'm right there with you.
Yeah, they're going to need to rely on them quick checks. If Christian Kirk plays, I think that's a big advantage, a big boost for the Texans, because he is like their slot receiver. He's someone who can get open immediately. But if he doesn't go, they haven't got a strong pass catcher in the backfield. Woody Marks is kind of who it's supposed to be, but, he's a late drafted rookie with not much credential. Nico Collins is an absolute dog, but he needs time to get downfield and get open. Yeah, I think Bucs O-line has got its own issues. Tristan Wirfs is practicing already, though. I don't think he'll play this week, but he is practicing at least. And they did move their line around last week a little. I think Graham Barton played a lot of left tackle, which was kind of a surprise. But overall, I just think that Texans O-line is just too much of a hindrance to overcome. I would have the Bucs as favored for this game, truthfully. And I could be way off, but just from what I've seen so far this season, and it's only one game.
Yeah.
I would just say the Bucks. I feel like what Paul mentioned around the foul, because I think they got away with last week. So if they were sitting there with a loss, it may have made sense. I think, Baker pulled it out at the end, but it was probably a disappointing offensive performance, I would say, as a whole. And you're going now against, I think arguably a top 5 defense, especially who might have the best backfield. So we'll talk about the best, but I think this could be oh no, what's Baker done kind of game. And I think it should be a very low scoring game, 42.5. I'm thinking under. I think it's going to be a hard slog for both teams. Like you said, I think, the Bucks have got a good offense, but I'm just not quite sure against this Texans defense. I think it's one of them defenses who can disrupt teams. So that's why I think probably the Bucks are underdogs, but I've led the Bucks as well. It's just going to be a low scoring, and who can get maybe the last possession and who does the least amount of mistakes, because it feels like how the Texans play the Rams. It feels like the exact same game. Yeah. And can the Texans get points, touchdowns, and not just field goals? I think that's the biggest difference. And Chubb looked decent, but still, it wasn't amazing. Performance where, like you said, it's not getting much easier. Where Vita Vea absolutely destroyed the Falcons' running game, which you just mentioned, and so he's going to do the same with this Texans team. So I think it's going to be a struggle for both teams, and not the most exciting Monday Night Football.
Todd Bowles said this afternoon that it's not out of the question that both Wirfs and Godwin play.
If Godwin plays, I will eat my headset.
I don't know if that's just a little bit of playing the media a little bit or whatever, but certainly Wirfs maybe, I don't know, but we'll see. So for all the reasons, and rightly so, you're saying that the Bucks, I don't get why the Bucks are underdogs here. Doesn't make sense. This is another one of them early season lines where my gut is to go, well, I should be betting the Bucks because that doesn't make sense. They shouldn't be 2.5 point underdogs. So I'm going to take the Texans because it doesn't make sense. I'm not walking into a trap this week. I'm determined to not walk into a trap this week.
Well, not every trap.
Well, not every trap. I might walk into one of the Eagles.
Yeah.
I'm determined to not walk into every trap. Yeah, it doesn't make sense. I think the Texans, especially this one, I think if the Texans go over 2, it could really spiral. It could really spiral out of control. So I think it's key. Bucks got away with one last week. And they've got problems again, and that might just because you're missing Wirfs and you're missing Godwin, and they're 2 huge players for you, which makes sense. So I think they might struggle again this week. That Texas defense is good, as Joe mentioned. So yeah, I'm certainly going to be backing the Texans. Over is 7-3 in the last 10 Bucks road games. There's been plenty of points when the Bucks have been on the road. Bucks are also 7-3 against the spread in their last 10 as a road underdog. Again, all reasons to back the Bucks. Under is 6-3-1 in Texans' last 10 home games, and 8-2 in last 10 as a home favourite. So Joe, under might be the play here as well. But for our bets, I'm just going to take the Texans minus 2.5. If it was 3 or 3.5, I'd probably just be leaving it. 2.5. I think the Texans eke out a close one, close, low scoring one, and win it with a field goal is kind of where I'm at. Guys, what have you got?
Yeah, we're going head-to-head because I have the Bucks minus 3.5 at 2-1. So, yeah, big head-to-head one this week. Could be a fun fourfold preview.
Yeah, I don't like it that much.
Yeah, I was going to say, you're probably not taking it too far. But I said could.
And even though I'm leaning the Bucks to win, I've got Baker Mayfield 2+ interceptions at 7-2. I just feel like I mentioned, I think he got the most interceptions last year, and this seems the kind of game where he might try and play hero ball, and you're not playing a bad defensive back. It's you're playing the Texans, who I think's got the best back. So I'm going 2+ receptions at 7-2.
Joe was so ashamed of himself there for sharing a Baker Mayfield interception bet that he's blurred his face out on screen like Crime Watch. There we go.
Right.
Excellent. Any more for Bucks, Texans? Oh, we're already moving on. The second part of the Monday Night Football, where I'm really looking forward to this one for more reasons than just the game. It's the Los Angeles Chargers, 3.5 point favorites on the road against the Las Vegas Raiders. Over under 46.5. And these two coaches fucking despise each other. Rivalry renewed. Harbaugh v. Carroll do battle again. An 18-year feud is back in the NFL as New Look Raiders look to back up bright opening game with win. I was so close. Look to back up Bright opening game win with a divisional victory. I love that these two are going to be going head to head twice a year, hopefully for the next few seasons, because they absolutely detest and despise each other. And this is going to be great.
Did you hear Pete Carroll's quote today on Jim Harbaugh? I remember Jim. I have no fond memories. Two fucking grumpy ass old men. I absolutely co-sign, adore it. It is brilliant. It's exactly what you need in football. Will we see a handshake at the end of the game? Probably, because they're both professional enough, but it's going to be spicy all game.
Yeah. Bit of context if you're not aware of the Jim Harbaugh and Pete Carroll rivalry. It all stems back in college. Pete Carroll was great coach of USC, national champion winning coach. Jim Harbaugh took over the Stanford Cardinals. They were doggo. They were so bad. And arguably, I think it still probably is the biggest point spread upset. USC is the number one team in college. We're a 40-point favorite against Jim Harbaugh's Stanford, and Stanford beat them outright, 24-23. And then followed that up by absolutely whooping them a year or two later, and it's just stemmed from there. Went into the NFC West with Harbaugh as coach of the Niners, Carroll as coach of the Seattle Seahawks, and it's just sprung from there. Yeah, so 18 years ago when Stanford pulled that upset off, I think USC were on a 35-game home winning streak as well, and lost as a 40-point favorite. That just doesn't happen in college football. Lost outright as a 40-point favorite. And then
I think the question is going to be not if they have a handshake, but how hard is the handshake going to be? we see like Carroll with like a cast on the following day.
I was thinking, was it Conte?
Thomas
Tuchel.
Well, Thomas Tuchel, wasn't it? Yeah.
Conte Tuchel, yeah, that's what I'm expecting, yeah. I got confused, guys. In my head, Conte was the Chelsea manager. I was trying to think who the Spurs manager was, but I forgot Conte was at the Spurs, as we should.
Yeah, this is going to be fun. Let's get into the game itself as well, the details. So the Chargers really high up on our power rankings, of course, after that great win in Brazil against the Chiefs. Raiders did the business at the Patriots. Yeah, how are we expecting this one to go, guys?
Yeah, I really like the Chargers in this one. I know it's on the road, but 3.5 points I think is certainly coverable. And I think the Raiders maybe looked a little better than they actually are against the Patriots last week.
Yeah, I think they both like surprised me, and so I think this week 2 is like, can you continue what you did in week 1? Because like we said, the Chargers have gone up quite a bit, but the Raiders didn't go quite as high in our power rankings as I thought they would. And I thought Gino on that offense played well. It sounds like Bowers should be playing. And the last time I saw he was day to day. So I think if he's not playing, then I wonder if that line goes out quite far. But the Raiders' offense surprised me, and I think it's a huge task against his Chargers defense, who the best scoring defense last year. And they played an extra game against the Chiefs, and then vice versa. I thought the Raiders defense played a lot better than I expected as well, because I had the Patriots to win. I thought the Patriots would be able to move the ball against them, but they didn't. And then the Chargers played well against the Chiefs. So I think it shows. I think obviously an AFC West battle. If the Chargers win this one, you got 2-0 and 2-0 in the division as well. So I think that's big. But if they do lose it, then it's like the Chargers going to be the Chargers, and you let the Chiefs. I think after the Broncos will win as well. But you let the Chiefs back in. It depends what happens with the Chiefs. But even why not go 2 games ahead already with a game in hand? I think it's huge, and they'll already know where it's at. So it should be an interesting one. But I think the Raiders showed something where I'm just not going to discount them to say they've got no chance. Because when you look at our power rankings, it should be. But I think this one's a really interesting to be like, can you back up what you did in week 1?
Yeah, I think it should be a really, really good game. The over is 5-1 in the last 6 meetings at the Raiders between these two. Chargers were great on the road last season. There were 7-3 ATS on the road last year, including the playoffs. The last 3 games on the road hit the over. Raiders have lost their last 5 home games in a row as an underdog, going 1-3-1 ATS, and the over is 4-1 in those games. I'm going to take both sides. I like the Chargers. I'm going to take for my bet. Chargers -3.5. Joe, flip that up. Sorry, I've been way ahead of you on this one. I've not given you time to flip them up. So sorry, I've got the over as my main bet, over 46.5. I'll also be on the Chargers -3.5 as well. That's already in our sheet. I like the opportunity to be pointy. I think the Chargers obviously ended up airing it out a bit more than maybe we were expecting. And yeah, Gino moved the ball quite well against the Patriots last week. So I'm expecting some big strikes, quick scores. And yeah, I think this can get to 47 easily.
Yeah, I was going to say with the Chargers, it's not really fair because they get to practice playing away from home even when they're in Los Angeles. So this should be good on the road.
Next up, Byron, I think we've got your bet next.
Yeah, I've got Omarion Hampton, 100+ rushing yards, 7-1. He only got 48 on 15 carries last week, but I think this is an opportunity for that Chargers O-line to show their dominance again. The Raiders defense played pretty well against the Patriots, but I think they're talking a bit night and day in terms of the offensive line strengths there. I think they're going to keep with Omarion Hampton as their lead back and sprinkle in Najee Harris. And I think I was kind of stunned this was 7-1. I thought this would be like a 3-1, 7-2 kind of price. Hampton didn't look brilliant, but he looked good enough. And I think this Raiders defense, again, I think they performed well against the Patriots, but I don't think they're going to do so well this week. I think this Chargers O-line is going to be pushing them around again. And yeah, Hampton to hit the ground running and beat Genty to the first 100-yard game.
Like it. I've got Michael Mayer anytime touchdown scorer, 11-2. I was actually impressed last week with, like we've mentioned, the Raiders offense, and he got plenty of chances with the Brock Bowers taking players away, and he's going to have plenty of one-on-one opportunities. And yeah, there are quite a few targeted players who I was their wide receivers, and so I think Michael Mayer is certainly going to catch a few balls, and anytime touchdown, 11-2. I do like. A big tight end in the end zone is always has an opportunity. So, yeah, that's my bet for the Raiders.
Excellent. Right, that is the Sky Sports and Primetime games wrapped up. Time for the 4-4 challenge, guys, I think. Are you ready to take on the 4-4 challenge? That's a no, Byron.
I've been more confident in my life.
Yeah, it wasn't. We didn't have a good week last week, did we, on the 4-4 challenge? To be honest, to be fair, it was tough last week. I feel it. Yeah.
Well, I was just, last year I started. I think I went 0-8 or 1-7. So it could have gone a lot worse.
Yeah. So yeah, if you've not seen this segment before, I'm sure you have. Yeah, so we pick a 4-4, but we draft it. So we need one favourite, one underdog, one over, one under from the week 2 slate, in this case, in the NFL. Makes a roughly 12-1 bet. And yeah, we do one every week. We have our guests to do it, and Fletch picked his before, as you just heard. So yeah, we're going to look to see if we can do it. Byron, you've got the honour this week of kicking us off. Yeah, where are you going to go first?
I am going to go first with a game we've discussed. I'm really sorry. Bucks as my underdog. If I have them as a team that I think going to win -3.5 as a bet of the week, then I kind of have to take them as my underdog of the week. And Joe has them as well. And Joe's got 2 picks before me, so I'll just get it locked in early. There is a couple of underdogs I like this week, but yeah, I'm going to take the Bucks plus 2.5 in Houston.
Cool. Right, what have we got? So. Oh, it's tough. I really struggled with what I'm confident with this week. There's a huge number on there as a favourite, and I feel like I'm just going to stay away from it. Or am I? Rams -5.5 against the Titans, please.
Ooh.
Okay. Rams have covered last 6 in a row on the road. Titans are 0-8 ATS in their last 8 home games. Cam Ward looked okay last week, but
I really struggled with this game.
Yeah, I feel that line's a big overreaction to kind of the Rams struggling a little bit to get going last week. I feel like we're probably going to have those problems again this week.
You're not worried about because the Titans played a lot better against the Broncos than I think most people expected. So you put that down as more the Broncos struggled rather than the Titans stepping up and having a good defensive performance.
A bit of both, but I think kind of Stafford should be able to kind of pick apart the Titans with the kind of the weapons and the veterans that they've got. And I do, like I said, I think the Titans did do a good job last week. I just think I think it's a low number. I feel like actually that 5.5 should be maybe 7.5, 8.5, maybe. That's kind of where I'm at with it. So I think I'm getting it a good number. Hence why we've gone with it.
Yeah, nice. Right, I'll go next. I'm going to get my dog out of the way, just because I've even though I've picked quite a few, I'm not confident, and I'm going back to the well. This could be not the smartest move, but I've got the Patriots at +1 against the Dolphins. 2 0-1 teams.
Trap. That's the other trap.
But they're both 0-1 teams. It's not like, the Patriots are coming off an amazing game. I think this is a huge game. Like, whoever goes 0-2 here, there's going to be a lot of reaction that the season's over already. There's already been rumblings in, we talk about Miami. How long is Hill going to be there for? How long is the head coach going to be there for? So I went for the Patriots last week, and I've got +1. I think the Patriots could sneak out. Obviously, I do worry about the Patriots record in Miami. Always seems not great, but...
You want me to tell you about it? Just to make you feel even better about your pick. Dolphins have won the last 5, going 5-0 ATS in their last 5 home games against the Patriots. They've owned them.
It's a new era. New era of New England Rebels there.
Very true.
Rebel is one in Miami as a Patriot. It could be
75% of the bets are on the Dolphins this week as well.
Yeah.
So maybe that's less trappy.
It might be less trappy, yeah. But again, this was one earlier in the week where we were like, why are the Patriots underdogs? The Dolphins are so bad.
I still don't understand it, truthfully.
Yeah. I think if it holds, because I've not bet it yet, if it holds, I'm gonna bet it.
I've already taken it, truthfully.
The Patriots?
Week. Yeah.
Oh, no, I'm going to bet the Dolphins. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, another head-to-head here, yeah.
It makes no sense.
The Dolphins are also now down their right guard and right tackle, and their number 1 cornerback, Storm Duck, which...
Great name.
Yeah, but despite the fact he's not always cracked up to be, he's still their number 1 cornerback. So it just... I don't know how the Patriots are underdogs in this game. So obviously I love it as an underdog here, Joe. I was torn between this and the Bucks as my pick. And I mean, Mike McDaniel said, I don't know how it can get worse. Those aren't great words you want to hear from your coach. Again, it's just Mike McDaniel. It's the way he is, I know. But anyway.
The bit that worries me, last bit on this, Dolphins had a players-only meeting.
Yes, already.
Week 1.
Between week 1 and week 2. Unbelievable. Yeah.
Not good.
There you go. So my next bit, I'm going to go under this time because again, I haven't got too many. I've got the Broncos at Colts under 43.5. That's mainly because I think the Broncos defense is going to do a lot better against this Colts offense than the aforementioned Dolphins. And yeah, I'm curious. I think that Colts defense is better than what people thought it would be. I think they've got a great defense. Well, great might be a bit strong, but they've got a really good defensive line. So I think it's going to be a bit of a slog like the Broncos game last week. So I think it's going to be high teens kind of game and the Broncos edging it. So I've got under 43.5 for that game.
Cool. I'm going to take... Oh, I should take my favorite over, shouldn't I, really? I'm going to go over in Bills-Jets over 46.5. For the last 5 Jets home games and last 5 Bills road games have all hit the over. Bills showed they were susceptible to the run game, didn't they? And also a mobile quarterback. So I think that could be the case here again. So yeah, I'm going to take Bills-Jets 46.5. And we know the Bills can put up points in bunches and quickly. So yeah, I like it. It could be a bit of a come down for both teams, maybe after both being in wild games week 1. But yeah, no, I just fancy kind of the Jets to be able to put up enough points to keep this interesting for a bit, and then it tip the over.
I was going to say, I think you're just hoping that it's not, the Bills don't get up to a 14-0 lead, and then you're relying on the Jets and Fields to start throwing the ball. I think that would be the way. But that offensive line looked great, so I do like this one. I think they can run over, and the Bills defense didn't show that much until the very end of the weekend. So I do like that one. I did have that as one of my overs.
Excellent. Byron.
Yeah, I'm going to take the under in 49ers Saints 40.5. No George Kittle, no Brock Purdy, no wide receivers other than Ricky Pearsall, and the Saints have an offense as well. So, yeah, I think the Saints will want to get a lot of plays off. The 49ers will not want to get a lot of plays off. This being a 17-7 game wouldn't surprise me in any way. I struggle to see if any team's going to get like over 24, it's going to be the 49ers, and I don't think they're overly interested in doing so. I think they'd love to just win 10-3 and go home. So I think they're going to try and keep it a slow-paced game and just stay a little ahead all game. It's Mac Jones, who Kyle Shanahan has obviously had a kind of a famous infatuation with over the years, or certainly in the draft process. There was a lot of rumors that's who we wanted to take. It finally gets to start him this week. A bit of a Prince Charles Camilla vibe is what I'm getting from it all. Not that I don't think Kyle Shanahan drove Brock Purdy through a tunnel or anything along those lines. Nothing at all. But I just think he's going to love getting Mac Jones. But he's going to see real quickly that he's going to love getting Mac Jones out of the game with a win as soon as possible. I don't think this is going to be a high shootout affair.
No, I think it's going to be quite low scoring. Obviously, the line changed on it because of obviously Brock Purdy being confirmed being out. When the Saints were 4.5 with Brock Purdy potentially playing, I really like the Saints a plus 4.5 earlier, but yeah, I don't know. It's changed now, but we'll see. Joe, how are you feeling about it? Kind of the injury bug is biting hard early in the season for the 49ers.
Yeah, obviously it's not great. It's not what you want, but
it's not great.
No, is that? But like, I don't mind with Mac Jones being the backup. Played some games last year. He had a good preseason. He was slinging the ball, and like Byron said, he was a Shanahan favorite. So I think he can be, if he plays 1 or 2 games. Because I know that mentioned Brock Purdy 2 to 5 weeks, but then John Lynch said it was more week to week rather than a long-term injury. And if he's like it's a turf toe. But when you look at the schedule, it's not too bad. As long as back up play that Rams game, maybe Cardinals the week before. But, you're playing the Saints, so you should still be able to beat them with Mac Jones. You'd rather have Purdy and Kittle. I think Kittle's obviously the bigger loss, but getting, I think so. I think it's going to be a big game for Pearsall, McCaffrey as usual, and we'll see what Kendrick Bourne can do.
Excellent. Right, Byron, your second pick on the turn.
Yeah, I'm going to take the over points in. Just discussed it. Patriots Dolphins 43 points. Dolphins again down their number 1 cornerback. I know the Dolphins have also suffered offensive line injuries. That isn't going to help, obviously, but I just think they're just going to have to find a way to score some points. I don't know what that way is, magic, whatever it might be, but I think the Patriots are going to score some points. So I think getting to 43 between the two of them, 2 very poor defenses on this showing so far. I just don't think it's a crazy thing, and there isn't a half in it. Please don't. I want to push, if nothing else.
If anything, you want to push. Yeah, I was tempted. That was my top under. So, but I'm not going to go head to head with you, Byron, because
what?
I'm not going to go head to head with you. We're head to head enough this week. I think I'm going to keep doing it. Patriots 10 in the last 10 Patriots road games. The most amount of points they've scored is 21, and they've only done that twice. 8 out of the 10 they've scored less than 20, so I just think it's going to be a struggle to get there. But I hope they do for your sake and for your football sake.
And that's before they've figured out how to do the booty call. So
that was before that. So I'm going to take a different under. I'm going to take Giants Cowboys under 44.5. It's Russell Wilson again. So that's kind of where we're at. I don't think Cowboys have got. They did play well offensively in the first half, struggled a bit in the second half. I think this might be a bit of a slog. I think the Giants might be in this game, and it might be quite low scoring, maybe until kind of after halftime. I think the Cowboys might just find a way to sort of pull away a little bit later on. I'm just going to go under 44.5. Cowboys, Giants.
Yeah, I do like that. That was another one of my unders as Well, it is weird that like this game is normally on TV. It's normally always on prime time.
It's normally a week one Sunday night football game, yeah.
Yeah, and it says a lot about the teams. That's that. So cool. So I need an over and a favourite. My over, I'm gonna go. This is a risk. Okay, why not? I'm gonna go the Seahawks at Pittsburgh. Over 40? Yeah, over 40. I think because it's such a low number, I know both of these want to be defensive teams, but I was actually impressed with Steelers' offense and not impressed with their defense. So I think there could be points in this, and I think it's a big game for the Seahawks as well. We talked about QB not playing any play action, which we thought he would come in to the league, and vice versa. Aaron Rodgers used to didn't play that much play action, but he got 3 touchdowns with it last week. So it'll be an interesting game, and I think it's a big one for the Seahawks. So I think there could be points, and a 41 is a fairly low number compared to the rest.
And it is a big one for the Steelers' number 1 wide receiver.
Oh yeah.
As if he didn't have that lined up.
Revenge game.
You know, I'm doing the 4-4 just like.
I think we might also need a variation on the revenge game soundbite, given how often it's going to get used.
I think it's perfect.
Finally, I need a. Oh, do you want to talk
about
back
to that game? Because we're going to talk about it again. Joe, yeah, you need a favourite.
I need a favourite. So tempted to go with the Niners, but I'm going to go. I'm going to go Broncos. I'm going to go the Broncos 1.5 favourites. I think I was surprised how close. Well, I'm guessing because how good the Colts played in week 1. But I think it could be a very we sat here in week 5 and being like, oh yeah, the Colts are 2-3 and they've had some nightmare games, and Anthony Richardson looks like he's coming in. I think it could be kind of like a Saints-esque last year. So I think the Broncos defense is going to be a bit too much for Danny Dimes. I know he did it against, like I mentioned, he did it against the Dolphins, but it might be a kind of year where everyone can do it against the Dolphins. So yeah, I've got the Broncos. Their favorite.
Yeah, I like that. It's only 1.5. Yeah, I like that. Again, I think I think Danny Dimes might have a week where he really, really struggles and looks like more like what we're used to seeing. So yeah, it was fun last week. I don't think it's gonna be fun for him this week. I like that. We're going back to Seahawks, Steelers. I'm going to take the Seahawks +3. I'm going to go against the family. I can only do the Steelers. I'm going to take the Seahawks +3 in this one. Seahawks, sneaky good road team. They're 9-1 straight up in the last 10 road games. They've won the last 4 outright as a road underdog, and of course, have gone 4-0 ATS as a result. I think it's going to be close. I think it's actually going to be low scoring. I think I might be in line for a push here and the Steelers win by 3. But I had the Steelers -2.5 last week and they won by 2. So if they could win, if they're going to win and win by 2 this week, that would be great. Yeah, I think the Seahawks game. Unbelievable. I think the Seahawks are going to have more success offensively this week. I think they're going to be able to run the ball a bit because that Steelers defense looked a mess last week. So I think they're going to get a bit more joy for the, just hopefully for Kenneth Walker fantasy owners to see a bit more progress this week because it was a rough one last week. But yeah, I think the Seahawks can keep it close. I think they can win this game as well. But I'll take the +3 with the Seahawks.
Grand, and I think that's just me to finish us off. Correct.
Favorite, please, Byron.
Already discussed it, so we can quickly get onto our ATS. Minnesota Vikings. -3.5, please.
Excellent. Rounds it off nicely. So yeah, works out. It's a 12-1 bet. Just quick run through it, I guess, while Joe's finishing off the graphic. Fletch went Bills -6.5, Patriots +1, over 44 in Panthers, Cardinals, and under 42 in Rams against the Titans. Yeah, we've got 3-4 folds there, 12-1 shot. Hopefully we can get one in, see one go through the hoop and get rolling on it. Excellent. Shall we talk through the rest of the games we haven't touched on our ATS picks? Excellent. So Thursday Night Football, it's already happened, but I've gone for the Washington Commanders +3.5. I I think it went to 3 before kickoff, but I also bet it earlier in the week. That's my Thursday night bet. Really like it. I think the Commanders might upset them here. Anyway, I'm also flying solo on the Bills. You guys have got the Jets. Do you think the Jets can keep this close?
Close enough, yeah. I just don't think it's wild because it is Josh Allen, but I think the Bills look kind of human other than the last few minutes against the Ravens. And I think the Jets actually match up well against them this year with that strong line, strong running game. Exactly what Baltimore did really well on Sunday. We'll see, obviously, but it is in New York. Well, it's technically not. It's in New Jersey, I guess. It's in the Jets' home stadium. And I just, like I say, I just think they stack up well. I think the Bills are going to really struggle to stop the run until further notice. I'm just kind of worried that the Bills just kind of keep them at arm's length and keep this a close game than it could be. Like, if the Bills needed to blow it off, I think they maybe could. But I just worry they might not need to and just keep it a close one.
Fair. I've just noticed something I saw. The first 4 games of the week, I'm on my own, so this is going to be a big swing. Either I'm going to get a lead or you two are going to leave me in the dust, which I think is what usually happens. I'm on the Lions. We've talked about the game already. You two got the best cover, win or cover. 11.5. This I was going to say I thought it might have gone, but obviously not. You two have got the Browns covering 11.5 on the road against Baltimore. I think this is one where Baltimore just need to go out, smash the Browns in the mouth, shake off last week. I think this is a kind of a real good team to do it against, I think, as well. I know they are good defensively and they kept the Bengals to 7 fucking yards in the second half last week. I just think the Ravens are going to be too strong for him and this could get ugly. But you two guys think the Browns are going to keep it relatively close?
Yeah, I'm just thinking it was the same last year where the Ravens lost the close game in week 1 and then they lost in week 2 against a team we expect them to smash. So I think the Ravens are going to sneak this one. I just think it's going to be a low scoring game. I think the Browns feels like that kind of defense which keeps these high scoring AFC North teams in check like they did against the Bengals. I think they probably can do that against the Ravens too. So I think, it's another, well, I'll not play the revenge game sounds. I can't say Joe Flacco revenge game against the Ravens. But yeah, I think the Browns, I think if it was like 6.5, I may have lent the Ravens, but 11.5 feels way too much. And if they do get like a lead of like 10, they might just try and run and lead the clock. And I think the Browns can keep it close like they did against the Bengals.
I don't think it's much of a revenge game for Joe Flacco. He took $100 million off the bloody Ravens. There's any revenge going there.
Not all the revenge games make sense.
It might be a revenge game against Lamar Jackson for taking his job.
Could be that. Next up, I'm riding with the Jags this week. Jags are 3.5-point underdogs on the road against the Bengals. I think, again, the Jags can keep us close. I think this one might be Bengals win by field goal. So with a 3 and a hook, I like the Jags. Byron, you're still riding with the Jags this week?
Yeah, of course, yeah. Again, I think it could be a really close game, but yeah, just like the Jags on the balance of it.
I feel like this is an over bet I'm going to make. I think it's 49. I feel like this is 49.
Yeah, it was on my shortlist for the fourth build. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like I'm going to bet this over and maybe look stupid, but the Bengals aren't going to be that bad on offense again, are they? They're just not.
It's tough to imagine.
Yeah. I'm on the Rams. So you see again, Titans minded. Do you put Titans plus 5.5 against the Rams?
My biggest issue here is I just really worry that Sweat and Simmons are going to be an awful lot for Matthew Stafford to not be able to get away from and kind of swarm that O-line. Steve Avia's out, and I think they've got another offensive lineman out. I can't remember who it is off the top of my head, but I know Steve Avila's out for this game. And that Rams O-line was kind of a question mark coming into the season. Obviously, Matthew Stafford has been a question mark coming into the season. Titans at home, touchdown, basically. I don't know. I just have a feeling about the Titans. I did flip-flop on this one quite a bit, but yeah, I just think the Titans up front might just get a little too much pressure. Big test for this Titans O-line, though.
Yeah, certainly. But yeah, I love those two on the interior for the Titans D-line. I was a big Devondre Sweat fan, and Simmons is a beast as well. Again, I'm so many of these games I'm on my own. Oh, on my own for the Dolphins against the Patriots. I think this is about a bounce back spot. I don't think they're going to be much good, but I think just how the lowest of lows last week, there's got to be I'm just hoping there's a response of some sort from the Dolphins here. We're all on the Cowboys to cover. That also makes me nervous. I flip-flop though because I had Giants +6 for most of the week since I only changed it 10 minutes before Joe started doing the sheet, I think. But
I did feel better when I seen you had the Giants, truthfully.
Yeah.
And then you screwed us now.
Let's see what Charlie thinks, and then you can see how nervous you are.
We'll see. Well, I placed my Thursday night bet before I saw Charlie's pick, and obviously regretting that I'm also on the Commanders with Charlie. But that's where we are. Me and Byron riding with the Seahawks on the road against the Steelers. Joe, you've got the Steelers. I've taken the Saints. This is stupid. This might be the dumbest one. I've taken the Saints +3. I think it's probably dumb. I'm sure Matt Jones will be fine, and the Niners will be okay. But I picked the Saints last week. They should have covered last week. They should have given themselves a chance to win the game, given themselves a chance to go for 2 to win it. But yeah, obviously they couldn't quite get it done against the Cardinals. Obviously the Niners are a big step up. I'm on my own again against the Panthers. Panthers +6.5. I thought the Cardinals were terrible last week. I know they won. I thought they were really bad last week.
Yeah.
Bryce Young needs a performance. I think if he has a terrible game again, I think he's going to the bench.
Yeah, well, I think for me, having Kyler Murray doing the correct kind of runs and not the runs he was having the night before, I think it's going to be a huge factor. And I think James Conner, I think you'll hear our fantasy game day best, but I think James Conner's going to have a huge game. I think they just need to feed him the ball against his Cardinals. And yeah, like I said, Bryce Young can't play bad again. I think the issue is there's only so many times you can drop a guy. I felt like last year was deserved, and he felt like he was like, oh, okay, it's good. But like to do it again, it feels like, okay, that might be, I feel like if you drop him again, it's not a good look. And
if it's as bad as it was last week, then he's going to drop him. So I'm backing. This is me backing Bryce. I want him to do okay. I want him to have the chance to kind of cement himself.
Number one Panthers fan, aren't you?
Not quite, but I think if the Panthers keep, even if they get beat, but as long as he does okay, and I think if he does okay, they can keep it close. Is sort of where I'm thinking. Rolling the Broncos -1.5 at the Colts. Me and Byron riding with the Eagles. We talked about this earlier. Joe's on the Chiefs. Vikings for me and Byron. Joe's on the Falcons. I'm on the Texans on my own, and we're all on the Los Angeles Chargers. This is going to be a defining week in ATS Picks competition, I think, because I don't remember a week where we've had one of us on their own this many games.
You say that, but you'll win 4 and lose 4, so just be
yeah. I'd take that actually. And coming out even out on those would probably be okay, I think. We will see. So that's the ATS Picks competition done. That's us done for the week 2 preview, I think. With nothing else to cover, have we, guys?
That's right.
Excellent. Yes, just adjusting to the new format. Thanks for joining us again. Make sure you're following Good Teams Win, Great Teams Cover. Podcast is available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Podbean, and Overcast. And make sure you're following the socials. Instagram, X, Twitter, Blue Sky, and TikTok. More and more is going across them now, which is great. And lastly, don't forget to catch our Fantasy Game Day 10-minute tips. We're going to record it in a minute. That'll be out on Saturday. On Saturday, you'll be able to catch it Saturday. It'll be on our Twitter page on Sunday, so you can watch it. Make sure you get your Fantasy Game Day tips and sign up to Fantasy Game Day, of course. You'll hear the promo in there, but make sure you use the code COVER. You get yourself a free entry after your first play. Go download it now. The UK's premier NFL Daily Fantasy game. Byron, Joe, it's been a pleasure. We'll see you on Monday for the review, or like in 30 seconds to film the Fantasy Game Day thing.